guys, I'm Bethany and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm back for another closed door book recommendations video. I've done quite a few of these on my YouTube channel and y'all love them and I always want to give you more. So I try to do these every few months, but I also don't want to do them until I get a good bit of recommendations. So I have so many here. I feel like so many of these I love so much and I'm so excited to talk about them. So I have adult closed door romances, most of them, and then there's a few YA romances that obviously have no spice. So I'll share those at the end, but if you don't know what closed door means, it's basically where there's no explicit spicy scene. So once it gets to that point, it fades to black, shuts the bedroom door, and you don't see any explicit scenes, which I really love. I try to avoid spice, but I obviously do read books with spice, and I think if the plot is worth it, I don't mind the spice, but I have found so many good closed door authors, closed door books, and I want to share them with you. So I will link all my videos below that I've done before. I think I have a playlist of all my recommendations that I've talked about before. If you haven't watched them, I'll link that below, but here we are for another one. Also, a lot of these are indie authors, so they're on Kindle Unlimited, so if you have Kindle Unlimited, you should look these authors up because I feel like I found so many amazing books on Kindle Unlimited and by indie authors, and so a lot of these are those. So I'm so excited to talk about them, and then some aren't, but honestly the majority I feel like are on Kindle Unlimited. So I think it's so worth it to have a membership if you want to read any of these books, more than one a month. It's $12 a month, I think, and you get to read a lot of these books. So anyways, let's get into it. So first, Just Another Love Song by Carrie Winfrey. I honestly didn't love this book. It's probably my least favorite out of all of these, but I do want to recommend it because I think somebody else could love it. Also, you can totally see my straw right there, so I'm gonna move my Stanley. So I do think that a lot of people would love this book. I just think it wasn't for me, and it just didn't, I just didn't feel connected to the characters, but I wanted to recommend it because it's closed door, and it was cute second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers, and the male main character is a country singer, a famous country singer. All of those tropes are my favorite. I love them so much, so I was so disappointed when I didn't love this book as much as I would hoped. But if you do like those tropes, if you do want a cute closed door rom-com, I highly recommend. I really like the writing, and I really liked the setting. It was very fun, a small town, a found family, that kind of vibe. It was probably a 3-star, which is still a good rating. It's just not one of my favorites, but I still wanted to recommend it because I have seen people give it 5 stars, so you could very well love it. Next is This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. I think all of her books are closed door, but I'm not sure. But I did reread this in January and I listened to the audiobook, so I can confidently say it has no spice. And I just love this book. It's so good. I do think it is such a good read during the New Year season because it takes place on New Year's. It's about Minnie and Quinn, and both of them were born on New Year's Day. They run into each other at a New Year's party on their 30th birthday, and you're kind of following Minnie and her life. It's kind of giving literary fiction. I don't really know. If you've read Sophie Cousins, you kind of know it's really always teaching you something. I feel like I love her books because I always learn something in them, and you're really just following Minnie, her life, her business, and there's also a love interest, Quinn. So really love this book. It was so good, and I read it in 2020 and then reread it in January and just love it. So I highly recommend anything about this author, but this is my recent read by her, so big fan. Next, I have a new author, which I'm very excited about because I feel like a lot of times I just share new releases for the authors that I love, but I found a new author in the past couple months in January, Conwell, and I love her books so much. I have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, yeah, I think I have 4 books by her that I loved and I want to recommend. So first is The Golden Goal, and this is a hockey romance, and I think it's kind of like brother's best friend, and then he's been in love with her his whole life, and she starts to work for his team as a therapist or something. Really good if you love a hockey romance. You should read this if you want something like icebreaker vibes. I would recommend this book because it's a great hockey romance. Really enjoyed it. And then the Sweet Peach series, I read most of the books in the series and I loved it so much. I didn't read the first one, but I started with One More Song, and this is a second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers, famous celebrity singer, which I love. All those tropes I love so much. This one was just so good. I saw a reel on Instagram about it and I just was like, I need to read this right now, and I picked it up and binged it and loved it so much, so highly recommend. And then the first taste is Best Friends to Lovers, Fake Dating, and it's really cute. The male main character is so sweet. So really love that one. And then One Last Play is Single Dad, and the male main character is a football coach for, I think, an NFL team, and the female main character is a teacher for his daughter's art class. And the female main character you obviously see in the previous books, they're all a friend group, and she's like kind of the mysterious one, very like to herself, doesn't really open up, and the main character really wants to get to know her and is going to do whatever it takes to get to know her. And yeah, so I really love this one. I think this one is my favorite. It was just so good, but I love the whole series and highly recommend if you're looking for like a friend group series. And one thing I love about this author is that she is a Christian, and you can see that in her books. They're not faith books, like you can definitely read them if you're not a Christian, but her faith aspects are definitely in the books. Like they talk about prayer, they talk about just faith like randomly, which I really love. So if you're looking for a new closed door author who also is a Christian, highly recommend Anna Conwell. Next is Off the Beaten Path by Madison Wright. This is my first book by her and a new author that I found. I have not read her other books. I think she has 3 others, but this one is a new series. It's small town, a single dad, they're neighbors, and they kind of just like don't get along. She'll like send her packages to his house, so he'll have to like come over and they'll like banter and he'll be annoyed and he's like grumpy, but it's so cute. I love this. It's the first book in a series. Small town, I got that found family aspect, and it's just so good. So I really love this book and I really love the characters, so I'm very excited for it to continue. And I really want to read her other books, but this is the only one I've read by her, but I've heard really good things about the other ones and they're all closed door. Next, I have a few that are not out when I'm filming this, but they should be out. They definitely will be out when I post this video. So first is Rock and Hard Place by Juliana Smith. I love Juliana Smith so much, and this is her new release, and it is a second chance romance with divorced parents. It's the 3rd book in the Wells family series, which I've talked about before. Per My Last Email, Signed, Sealed, Delivered are the first 2 books, and this is my favorite in the series and my favorite of her books literally ever. I loved it so much. I read it in my 5-star read video if you want to see me read it. It's so good. I love the way that she wrote about parenthood, about how they would do literally anything for their kids. It's just so beautiful. Basically, they are divorced, but they have to work together on this school project for their kids. Just the way they would literally do anything for their kids, and the way that Liam would do anything for Marigold, even though they aren't married anymore. It was just so beautiful. I love this book. I loved Juliana's writing. I feel like she popped off with this book, and I feel like she just hit the nail on the head. I don't know. It was so good. This is my favorite of hers, and I'm so excited that it's about to be out, and you can go read it right now. It's so good. Loved it so much. And it was my first 5-star read, obviously, of 2024, and I just can't get enough. I'm so excited for the next book in this series. Next is Girl Meets Grump by Haley Gardner. I love Haley Gardner's books. I've talked about her before, and this is her new release, and it takes place in a cabin like situation called Wildwood in the Pacific Northwest, and the male main character is kind of grumpy. He is the owner and like contractor for the business and like the cabins. And the female main character is like a travel blogger. She just got home from Europe and she ends up working at Wildwood. And what I love about this book is that Trent, the male main character, is grumpy, but he's grumpy because he has social anxiety. And I just like totally related to him. As a shy girly, as a socially anxious girly, I really related to him. He reminded me of Jacob from Yours Truly. And if you know, you know I love Jacob. So I love this book. It was so good. I just love her books so much. They really are like comfort reads. I feel like they just bring like comfort and coziness, and like this book specifically was so cozy and I loved it so much. So highly recommend picking it up. And I just love her books. They're so good and they're just like sweet and tender. Like the way that the female main character was like just patient with the male main character, like with him being slow to open up because of his social anxiety and like just being closed off. I just loved it so much. So next is My Lucky Charm by Courtney Walsh. This just came out today actually, and it is a hockey romance, and it's the 2nd book after My Phony Valentine, which I loved so much. And this is about, the main character is very much grumpy, closed off, but like just doesn't really want to talk to anyone. He is transferred teams. He switched teams in the NHL and he is just not very happy about it. And then the female main character is basically his assistant, kind of helping him with his sponsorships, making sure he stays in line, acts right, you know, that kind of thing. And it's just so good. I really, really love this book, but I do think I loved My Phony Valentine more, but I still really enjoyed this. And you see the characters from My Phony Valentine in this book, which I really love. So it is for like St. Patrick's Day kind of, but that's not really a huge theme in the book. You can definitely read it any time of year, but you just see a little bit of St. Patrick's Day in it. And I think those are all of the new releases. So now we're gonna get on to kind of the YA section. This one isn't technically YA, but I would consider it more like new adult because of the age of the characters. This is Picking Daisies on Sundays by LYANNA. I don't know how to say her last name, but this is a best friends to lovers fake dating situation. So this girl, the female main character, is basically in love with her best friend, and they basically went to high school together. Something happened, and 4 years later they see each other in New York City, and they're both in college. Basically, he asked her to be his fake girlfriend for his sister's wedding, and you're just following them. It's really cute. I really love this book. I loved the writing and like the quotes. There's so many great quotes I loved so much, and I just thought it was a really like fluffy time. I love the New York City setting, and the female main character also loves fashion, which I really loved that aspect of this book. So I highly recommend. It is closed door. I wouldn't say it's YA. I don't think it's in the YA section, but it's, I would say, more like new adult. They're like in their early 20s going to college. It's just a fluffy good time. So now we have a few YA books. So first I have Letters to the Lost and More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kimmer. I love her books. I think I've talked about them before in a closed door book rec video, but these are more emotional romances. So if you're looking for a romance that's gonna pull your heartstrings but not too much and that doesn't have spice, I highly recommend these books. So Letters to the Lost is about Juliet and Declan, and you get like writing letters to each other in this book. Don't want to give too much away because I just feel like it's fun to go in blind. And then this book is about Rev and Emma, and Rev is in this book. And I think out of both of them, More Than We Can Tell is probably my favorite, but I just really love these. They're definitely gonna pull at your heartstrings, and I feel like the second book, there's a trigger warning for abuse, child abuse, things like that. It's not happening in this book, but the main character does recount what happens, and you see a little bit of like him talking about it in this book. And I also, there's a little bit of like faith aspects with the Rev. He like talks about his faith and things like that, which I really enjoyed. So I highly recommend these books. Love Bridget Kimmer, love her YA romances. They are in high school and you're just following them and like more traumatic things that have happened to them. And I really enjoyed them. So if you're looking for like more emotional vibes, I recommend those. And then if you're just looking for a nice rom-com, Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is her recent YA release. And it was so good. I did a reading vlog on this book, but basically this follows Charlie and Bailey, and they meet one day in the airport because she's moving in with her mom, I think. Yeah, she's moving to a different place after her parents' divorce, and she runs into Charlie, and they don't really like get off on the right foot. And then he ends up working at the same place as she does. And they kind of become friends, and you just follow them. It's really cute, funny, and I just love Lynn Painter's books. Her YA books are just so good. And there's definitely like talks of like divorce, your feelings on divorce. So there's that aspect to it, but overall I think it's just like a really good time. And you don't have to think, like you're just reading this book, flipping through it, no thoughts, just vibes. Really, really loved this book. There is a bit of profanity in this book from the main character, which kind of confuses me with YA books. But that's the only thing that I would say. There's no spice in it, and I really enjoyed it. So that is all the books for this video, all of my book recommendations. Closed door, no spice. I hope you found a new book that you can read, and I just love doing these. I love giving recs that are closed door, and also I just love these books. Like regardless of the spice level, I just love these books so much. And some of these are just like new favorites, like Rock and Hard Place, new favorite of all time, Haley Gardner's new book. All these books I just love, and I just love filming these videos. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I think that's it, and I'll see you very soon for my next video. Bye.